Li Wui asked, "What exactly is going on?" Tian Chen explained, "It's fallen." Fallen refers to evolved beings who made mistakes during their evolution process. In their ambition to gain power, these evolved beings tortuously forced themselves. The higher their evolutionary rank, the stronger their resistance to viruses, and at the same time, the more intense their seal becomes. However, due to the forced virus within their bodies, their resistance cannot keep up, and their bodies gradually transform, losing their human consciousness. He's gone mad. Quickly step back, or the battle will injure everyone. Because of the first level evolution failure, he's forcing himself to ascend. Now, this guy's strength is on par with the second level, not to mention his super recovery ability. In this situation, I have to fight him with all my strength. Tian Chen transformed his arm into a powerful form, preparing to face off against Han Li. Han Li was as quick as lightning, immediately appearing right in front of Tian Chen, throwing a punch. Tian Chen swiftly dodged the blow, then counterattacked with his powerful arm. Han Li was sent flying. Above, Qin Qin and the others were observing. Li Wui asked, "Do you think boss who can block that punch?" Qin Qin frowned and shook his head. "It's hard to say, but it doesn't look like it." That was definitely all of Zhou Tianchen's strength. Tian Chen let out a sigh. "I just fought with the sharp-clawed one and haven't fully recovered yet. This person doesn't even know when to choose the right moment to attack. My full force strike has already drained 30% of my energy, leaving only 20% of my strength. This battle seems very difficult to handle." At this point, Han Li had turned into a monster, and its recovery speed had significantly slowed down. It seemed that the previous strike had some effect, and if I attack now, I may have a chance. Han Li growled, his eyes glowing bright red, looking terrifying. Tian Chen sensed something was wrong, and he circled around behind Tian Chen before suddenly running away. Tian Chen was startled. That guy is quick. Even though he's turned into a fallen creature, he still retains some intelligence. I had planned to defeat him, but if he uses all his strength to escape, it will indeed be hard to deal with. However, I still need to quickly improve my strength. Fallen creatures are much stronger than regular infected ones. The subordinates stood in front of Zhao Lin, their bodies trembling with fear. Tian Chen cursed, "Hurry up and go." The subordinates and Zhao Lin, seeing their chance, immediately turned and fled, shouting, "Run fast, run, young master, let's go now." Zhao Lin ran while fuming with anger. "Damn it, Zhou Tian Chen, just wait until I get to Longhua, I will make sure to repay everything you owe." Tian Chen spoke up, "Zhao Lin, did I ever let you go?" Hearing this, Zhao Lin's eyes widened in shock. Tian Chen stepped forward. "I saved your life once, spared you, but when the sharp claws came, you selfishly only cared about your own worthless life, using others as substitutes. It was because of this scoundrel that so many people had to die for him in the past life. This debt you cannot escape, give your worthless life to repay it." At this moment, Zhao Lin was extremely cowardly, clinging to Tian Chen and pleading, "Zhou Tian Chen, please don't kill me. I will agree to anything you ask, no matter how much money. 1 million yuan, 10 million, 100 million, I will give it all, just spare my life." Tian Chen tightened his grip around his neck. "You are not just a villain, but scum. If I spare you now, I guarantee your future will be doomed." Li Wui spoke up, "Zhou Tian Chen, don't be so impulsive, listen to me. I know Tian brother is a person of great strength, but don't act recklessly. Even a powerful dragon might not be able to overcome a long-established serpent spirit. Stepping out with such great power might not be a good idea." Tian Chen still didn't let go. "You're wrong, Li Wui. Even if we let this bastard go today, he will definitely never let us go." At this moment, Zhao Lin was being strangled to the point where his face turned pale and his eyes began to whiten. No, Tian Chen, believe me. Even if you gave me 10 livers, I wouldn't dare. Just spare me, and I'll obey you from now on." Tian Chen repeated, "I told you, I won't give you a second chance." Finally, he broke Zhao Lin's neck, and the man died instantly before Li Wui's astonished gaze. Tian Chen walked past him. "Li brother, listen to my advice. Uncut loose ends, invite chaos. Li Wui murmured, uncut loose ends, invite chaos. The sky outside grew dark. Tianqian sat alone in the room, deep in thought. The situation I encountered today is really a bit unusual. I clearly remember detecting 2 high-level monsters, but only the sharp-clawed one appeared. Where are the others? That fallen one has long been out of my perception range, and I don't sense the presence of any other monsters nearby. Could it be that my perception is still incomplete? Anyway, my physical strength has recovered now. If there are any enemies, I can deal with them. For now, the most important thing is to strengthen my power. He thought, now the seal has covered my entire arm, I need to quickly find a new spot to form a seal. Once I enter the second realm, both my resistance and the virus inside my body will have strengthened significantly. To fully control this power, I must find a new sealing point to refine it. Being able to form a new seal is the difference in strength between the weak and the strong, the wall that separates the second and third realms. In my previous life, almost every evolved being chose to create a new seal when reaching the peak of the second realm. Surely, this was because the success rate was higher. But it also meant that those who formed a new seal earlier would have a better foundation when advancing to the third realm, their strength would grow with more advantages. In my previous life, since I focused on creating a new seal when reaching the peak of the second realm, I spent quite a bit of time. But my power was only average. This time, I will start from the second realm. Then, my strength won't fall behind anyone. Tianqian clasped his hands together. With the experience from my previous life, I completely understand how to activate a new seal. However, starting to form a seal at the beginning of the second realm isn't enough. The strength of the virus in my body hasn't fully developed yet. In this situation, I can only use it. Then he took out a red stone. There are many methods to absorb the beast core. Some people swallow it directly, others absorb its power, but the best way is still the blood infusion technique. You just need to cut a wound at the original energy point, then guide the energy of the meteorite crystal into your body through the blood. Normally, with a third-grade meteorite crystal like this, it would be enough for me to break through to the intermediate level of the second rank, but I should still use it to form a new energy seal. Tianqian closed his eyes, frowned, and concentrated deeply. Finally, he opened his eyes wide, and his pupils had completely disappeared. He shouted loudly, "Ah, evil Tianqian, is something wrong?" When everyone heard his shout from the room, they hurried over, sounding very worried. But when they arrived, everyone was stunned, not understanding what was going on. There was Tianqian, standing by the window, looking extremely calm. As soon as he noticed people coming, he immediately turned his head to look behind. "I'm fine." Tianqian took a drag from his cigarette. "I just had a nightmare," and shouted out of fear. Qin sighed, "You nearly scared me to death. I thought something bad had happened to you." She handed him her handkerchief. She said, "Here, take this and wipe the sweat off." Tianqian also extended his hand to take the handkerchief. It was already late, so she was about to leave soon. Before she left with everyone, she reminded him, "And you should get some rest soon. A lot has happened today, we're going back to sleep now." Tianqian nodded, "All right, you all go ahead." Afterward, everyone went out, carefully closing the door. Tianqian was left alone in the room, and now he let out a long breath, feeling extremely uncomfortable inside. Thinking back, the process of conquering a new seal was really not easy. I couldn't help but shout. But anyway, the conquest was successful. Having a new seal is like adding another core to control this zombie power. Now, controlling and using my strength will definitely be more flexible than before. Let's see. He took a deep breath, and suddenly Tianqian's body changed. Around his arms, something like arm armor grew. He looked at his hands, both of them could transform. This is something I could only achieve after breaking through to the third level in my past life, truly a stroke of luck. He said, "Even if it takes twice the effort, the strength also doubles, and I can undo the transformation. Although I am still at the beginner level of the second rank, the advantage of having an additional seal is not small. It seems that in the future, I will need to collect more beast cores." The mark on his hand disappeared. Outside, someone approached his window and placed a bag on the ground, making a soft thud. Then, the person picked up a stone and threw it, shattering the window of Tianqian's room. Tianqian sensed the stone coming and, without turning his head, caught it with his bare hands. He picked it up, realizing it wasn't a stone, but a bag of items. He was momentarily confused, opening the bag and murmuring, "These are pieces of alien stone, not just one, but many." Tianqian immediately stuck his head out the window and shouted, "Who is it?" A person in a coat was standing there, but because it was dark, his face was not clearly visible. Furthermore, he wore a hood that completely covered his head. Tianqian looked at the mysterious figure, and as soon as the man realized Tianqian had received the bag of alien stone pieces, he turned around and fled immediately, as if he didn't want his identity to be revealed. "Wait!" Tianqian shouted loudly, immediately flying out of the window to chase after the person. He landed on the ground, but the mysterious person didn't wait for him and continued running. Tianqian had to chase at full speed, but he couldn't catch up with them. The two of them kept running, with the mysterious person continuing to flee. Over here, Tianqian's stamina started to dwindle, and he was breathing heavily. Despite his efforts, he still couldn't catch up. But when he noticed the person's arm, Tianqian immediately recognized a familiar face. "Is it you, Luo teacher?" he said as he ran quickly toward her. Hearing her name, the mysterious person immediately stopped and gave him a look as if she didn't want to meet his gaze. "It really is you," Tianqian said in surprise upon seeing her. He approached Luo teacher and asked, "Were you the one who saved me back then?" She nodded. "Yes." "Why did you run away earlier? Did you want to avoid me?" "It can't be that." Luo teacher replied, "It's just that I didn't want you to see me like this." Tianqian was confused. "What do you mean, like this? No matter what form you're in, I wouldn't laugh at you." Luo teacher turned away again. "I just came to bring you something. I shouldn't stay any longer." "Wait," he called out, stopping Luo teacher. He asked her, "You haven't eaten anything for 3 days, right?" Teacher Luo hurriedly replied, "Eat? I'm not hungry, I don't want to eat." Tianqian picked up a knife, and it seemed that it wasn't that she didn't want to eat, but rather that she didn't dare to eat. This surprised Teacher Luo. She extended both her hands, and Tianqian continued, "The mutation you've encountered is the black armor. It has enhanced your strength, stamina, speed, and mental power. The black substance enveloping your body also comes from the black armor. Although it gives you extraordinary power, it does have its drawbacks. Even though the black armor has allowed you to retain your consciousness, you still need to drink fresh blood and eat raw meat." He said things that Teacher Luo didn't want to hear, and she felt uncomfortable with him. "You. Please stop talking. And human blood is the most effective." He directly took the knife and made a cut on his hand, fresh blood flowing out. "You should eat something, or you'll just die from hunger." As soon as Luo teacher caught the scent of fresh blood from Tianqian, she immediately transformed. Her gaze was filled with bloodlust. She rushed toward Tianqian without waiting a moment, but just as she was about to make contact with him, she stopped. Teacher Luo felt a bit distressed. No, I can't do it." Tianqian pressed his bleeding arm close to her face. "If you want to control it, you must first accept it." But then, Luo teacher seemed unwilling. He shouted, "Do you think you can stop your desires? What about today, tomorrow, and the days after?" The blood on his arm continued to flow, and he kept shouting at her, "If you don't act now, what if you suddenly attack everyone later? Who will bear the consequences?" Luo teacher was filled with sorrow, trying to control her thirst for blood while not wanting to hurt anyone. She mumbled, "No." But then, as if unable to bear it any longer, and provoked by Tianqian's words, she bit his hand. Tianqian didn't feel any pain. He silently watched her as she drank a few gulps, and gradually her bloodthirsty gaze returned to its normal state. "What?" Li brother exclaimed the next morning. Li Wuyi was held back by Qin Qin. "Don't be so agitated, let's talk about this calmly," Li Wuyi said to her. How can I not be agitated? Tianchen suddenly said he wanted to leave? He scratched his head and said again, everyone has truly misunderstood. There's a bit of awkwardness in my tone, I had something to take care of. That's why I needed to temporarily separate for a few days, worried that my absence might delay everyone's journey, so I suggested we act separately. Tianchen Li Wui was still very angry, don't look down on others. Although I, Li Wui, don't have any extraordinary abilities, I will absolutely never abandon my friends. If the Zhao family wants to make things difficult for us, I will be the first to disagree. That's right, we disagree. Everyone is following Li brother's words. No one agrees with your decision to separate from the group. Tianchen scratched his head and explained, Li brother's good intentions are appreciated, but the real reason for me separating has nothing to do with the Zhao family. Then what is the reason? Li brother asked, a bit confused. He answered, I can't explain it clearly. It's a bit complicated. Tianchen, Li brother tells you not to worry about us. If the Zhao family dares to come at us, we will fight them with everything we've got. Qin patted Li brother's shoulder and said, brother, calm down. Let's talk things over slowly. He raised his hand to signal for everyone to be quiet. All right, listen to me for a moment. Li brother, our goal is very big. Tianchen explained, if the Zhao family truly wants to take action against me, it will be very difficult for us to respond. It's better if we split up and take action separately. Li brother was still very worried about him, but his voice showed a slight reluctance. He continued to explain, moreover, the most important reason is that I really have something urgent that needs to be dealt with. Secondly, after everyone leaves, I want to ask you to help me find a few people. Find the person. The whole group was surprised. Tianchen actually has someone to find? After explaining clearly, the group went out to prepare the vehicle for him. Qin was the one who personally repaired the vehicle. Once she finished, she said to him, I've prepared the guns and ammunition for you, you might need them. Also, there's food, water, and medicine, it should be enough for a while. And this, she handed Tianchen a grenade, this grenade has been modified to have a stronger explosive power. A precise throw can take out a mid-level second-tier zombie. Tianchen took the grenade and thanked her, this is a good one. Thank you. Alright, taking the grenade in his hand, he also said his farewells. These are enough. Qin asked him, how long will you be gone this time? He replied, at best, a week, at worst, half a month. In short, I will go to Manhwa. He reminded her about what was said earlier, Li brother, pay attention to the direction your friends are going. Li Wui crossed his arms, got it. Gaofei, Luolan, and Zhang Tingyu, right? If they all go to Manhwa, I'll definitely keep an eye out for you. Especially Zhang Tingyu, I'm certain he's in Manhwa, so if you find him, make sure to let me know. But don't disturb him. Li brother replied seriously, rest assured, I understand. Then, I'm off. Goodbye. He said goodbye to everyone. Then, as they got in the car, everyone responded and waved goodbye to him, alright, travel safely. The two of them were on their way to their destination. Luo teacher asked him, is the problem with the person really solvable? She still didn't quite trust him. Tianchen replied, I don't know, but at least it can help ease her. Now we are heading to Manhua Mountain, near Manhua City, it's a primeval forest, and there will be quite a few wild animals. Luo teacher unexpectedly asked, why look for wild animals? She was very curious about him. Tianchen answered, although human blood has a mesmerizing effect, which is powerful for you, the blood of wild beasts can also be a substitute. Then, does that mean we will only live like cavemen from now on? Luo teacher asked him. He answered indifferently, you can keep it in a jar and pretend it's wine. At this point, Luo teacher could no longer ask anything further and fell silent. The two of them reached the foot of the mountain, where, in a tower, someone was using binoculars to observe. That person immediately reported, someone is driving up the mountain. A man, holding a cigarette in his mouth, muttered, "Great, the supplies from last time are almost used up. Maybe we can steal something from them." Another old trap. The person beside him held a chicken leg, munching on it while speaking. The one next to him smiled faintly. "Now that second brother is dead, we've each lost a hand. Perhaps this isn't so bad after all." He thought of their old enemy and grew angry, his eyes filled with hatred. "If it weren't for that mongrel, could we have ended up like this?" "Alright, stop saying useless things, fourth brother." The person stood up. Where did they stop? Fourth brother reported back, "It seems they've gone into the primordial forest." What? The leader was shocked upon hearing this information. Primordial forest? Even they didn't dare to enter there. How are these people not afraid of death? Exactly, they're progressing quickly. Over here, he was teaching Luo teacher how to control the black armor. Earlier, I explained the basic operation principles of the breathing method. Now, your divine body function has reached the second intermediate level. He explained further, "It's a bit late to start cultivating the breathing method now, so from here on, I'll directly teach you how to condense the stripes. For you, the stripes are black lines, and you'll need to control these black lines little by little using the method." He said, "Gather these black lines, then condense them at a single point." You can zoom in and out freely now. Do you mean? Luo teacher asked again. We will gather all these black scales later, and release them when necessary, he replied. That's right, this way the external form can be resolved. Luo teacher continued, as for my craving for blood, I feel that my current state can only be maintained for at most a week. Beyond a week, I fear I will lose control and kill someone. Sighing at Luo teacher's words, he patiently responded, your bloodlust is actually because your current energy source comes from fresh blood and meat. Once you break through to the third level, you'll be able to absorb energy from the outside, and these issues will be solved before long. Practice the breathing method to help suppress your bloodlust. Also, fresh blood from wild animals can serve as a substitute. Your starting point is in your chest. Condense it there, he instructed. Following his guidance, Luo teacher condensed it at her chest. Something seemed to glow from her chest. Your starting point is at the chest, condense it there, he repeated. From her chest, a red light gradually emerged. It then emitted countless red lights, with energy gathering at that spot. On Luo teacher's arm, the black scales gradually flew away. Her arm could now shift into the shape of a normal human's. He sighed in relief, it worked, she's been able to control these black scales. Luo teacher seemed to be in pain during the process, her eyes tightly shut. The condensation process will be very painful. If it becomes too much, you can take a break and then continue, there's no need to rush, he explained. Stop. Seeing her condition was unusual, he immediately stopped her, you mustn't continue. But it seemed that Luo teacher couldn't stop the process. She was overwhelmed, and blood spurted from her mouth. Ah! She screamed in agony. Luo teacher gasped, seemingly under great pressure. He stepped forward, his voice full of concern. I told you, there's no need to hurry. By pushing yourself like this, you'll end up hurting yourself. He wiped the blood from her mouth, but she didn't respond. He continued to comfort her, are you rushing because you want to finish sooner? So you can go back to doing your own thing? It doesn't have to be done today. He said, right now, you can only go step by step, in order. Luo teacher listened to him, remaining silent. Tianchen left, I'll go find something for you to eat, you take care of setting up the tent. As soon as he left, Luo teacher stayed seated. After a while, when Luo teacher had finished setting up the tent, Tianchen returned. He said, I'm back. Luo teacher turned around upon hearing the noise, and with a thud, a tiger fell in front of her, seemingly dead, its eyes closed. Luo teacher, upon seeing it, became excited, a tiger, a tiger. She gasped in disbelief. He approached the tiger and explained, you are concentrating the black energy, it requires a lot of energy, eat this first, and if you're still not full, I'll go hunt more. Tian Chen took out a cup of blood and offered it to her. Drink this. Luo teacher trembled when she saw the tiger's blood. This is the first time in my life I've ever drunk tiger blood. It seems you don't want to try it. He raised a finger. This tiger should be enough for you to eat for a day. Earlier, I found a bear den. Let's leave that for tomorrow's hunt. Hearing Tian Shen's words, Luo teacher was able to take a sip of the blood, only to spit it out immediately. Are you sure about this? She asked. We only eat one tiger a day, Tian Shen replied. He added, even if we can't eat it all, we still have to. She could hardly imagine how much energy was required to concentrate the black blood. It's much harder than when I concentrated the 30-meter stripes at level 3, and it still wasn't enough. But Luo teacher seemed a bit displeased. Eating raw fish, I can't do it. He said, how about I try cutting its meat into a salad? Or maybe we should forget it? Luo teacher rejected his idea. I'll do it myself. 3 days later, the group followed him into the primeval forest. The leader said, be careful, if you don't do it well, you'll run into wild animals. One of his subordinates asked, are there really wild animals in this forest? The leader snapped, this is a primeval forest. Boss. His subordinate said in fear, maybe we should give up. We've been searching for 3 days and haven't even seen a shadow. The leader stopped, sniffing the air as if detecting something. He crouched down and asked, do you smell anything? Siwon, startled, responded, it seems like the smell of blood is coming from over there. Could it be that a bear or a tiger is eating something? He immediately imagined a bad scenario. The leader gritted his teeth. He really wasn't interested in this, but he whispered to his subordinates, stay quiet, let's go check it out. Afterward, the 3 of them went over and discovered a tiger's head, its flesh completely stripped, leaving only the bones. The leader sat down and examined it. What kind of bones are these? The man in the yellow shirt replied, I don't know, but they're much larger than human bones, resembling tiger bones. The long-haired man said, but why is only the skeleton left? The senior assessed, it's as if someone has already dealt with it, taking all the edible parts. Does anyone know who did this? The senior wondered, could it be that the man in the yellow robe, who was terrified, is not the one we're looking for? They are so strong. The long-haired man walked around, studying everything before discovering, come here and look, there are footprints. Footprints? The person turned around to look, and the boss suddenly shouted. Meanwhile, Luo teacher also began to gather all the black armor, and nearly her entire body had returned to its original state. Luo teacher was delighted as she looked at the black armor she had collected so far. She stood up, left the rug, and walked into the tent to search for clothes. She no longer wore the old coat to cover her body, instead opting for her familiar hoodie. Luo teacher was a bit happy. Finally, it's almost a success. What a sight for sore eyes. Over there, the group saw Luo teacher and exclaimed, finally, we found her. The 3 of them immediately ran toward Luo teacher. She looked at the people in surprise, who are you? She asked again, her voice tinged with caution. The group, crying and complaining, said, we were hunting pigs in the forest nearby, but we ran into a pack of wolves. It was only after a lot of effort that we escaped with our lives. Our boss got his arm bitten off by a tiger while saving us. Luo teacher unexpectedly asked, a tiger? The group approached as if trying to win her sympathy. We first encountered wild wolves, then later a tiger. That sounds so dangerous. Yes. His subordinates chimed in, and our poor second brother. The whole group cried together, a bunch of us over there got bitten to death by the tiger. Luo teacher was swept up in their act. She sighed and looked at them, you can't bring the dead back to life. Don't be too sad. Are you hungry? I'll make something for you to eat. Thank you, we are so grateful to our benefactor. The 3 of them immediately kneeled down without hesitation, which made her feel a bit awkward. Luo teacher left, then wait here for a moment, I'll go get some food. The boss looked towards Luo teacher as she was leaving and smirked lewdly. The man with long hair whispered, "Boss, this girl seems very easy to deceive, no doubt about it, she's really a fool." "Fourth brother," he commanded, "go check what supplies are in the car." Fourth brother obediently stood up and went to check. He opened the car, and inside were countless weapons. Fourth brother informed everyone, "Boss, there are a lot of supplies, we've struck it rich. There's food, water, and also guns, ammunition. These supplies will last us for a long time." "Really?" The boss was delighted when he heard this. He walked over and picked up a grenade, saying, "Even grenades, we have those." At that moment, Luo teacher turned around and asked, "What are you doing?" The boss immediately glanced at Luo teacher. At this moment, she still had no idea what they were planning and was very naive. The boss quickly hid the grenade and said, We. This is fourth brother, he's very clever." He immediately began to cry, "My brother loved this kind of car when he was alive. Seeing this car, I just couldn't control myself." That's right, the boss and the others cooperated and started crying along with him. She also ignored it, dropped the bucket of water on the ground, and leaned into the car to search for materials. "You guys go over there and start the fire, I'll handle things here." The three of them looked towards Luo teacher, the curve of her figure making it hard to imagine she was a woman. Without saying a word, all three of them blushed, not knowing what was going through their minds. A moment later, the food and soup were boiling loudly. "Boss," the one in the yellow shirt whispered, "I need to discuss something with you." "What's up?" The boss immediately understood, "I have the same intention, I was thinking the same as you." The three of them openly talked about Luo teacher without any concealment. The youngest underling said, "It's been almost 3 months since we last saw a woman, and now we need a beautiful girl like her. Boss, let's settle this quickly, I can't wait any longer." "What's the rush?" "Let it simmer slowly, it will be better that way." After Luo teacher finished cooking everything, she stood up, looked towards the three gangsters, and gently said, "The food is ready." The three of them were delighted. "All right." But just as she turned to leave, they exchanged looks and shared their vile thoughts, discussing the plans they wanted to carry out with Luo teacher. The three of them ate like wolves, gulping down their food as if they had been starved for a long time. Luo teacher gently reminded them, "Eat slower, there's still plenty." "What kind of meat is this?" one of the subordinates asked, feeling very curious. Luo teacher replied, "It's tiger meat, hunted by my friend." The three of them were startled. The one who seemed the most frightened asked, "So, the tiger was hunted by your friend?" Luo teacher nodded. "Have you ever met that tiger?" "No, how could we have met it?" The three of them choked up. "We're just particularly sensitive to tigers." The subordinate immediately tried to defend himself. "This arm of mine was offered to the tiger's mouth. I will never be on good terms with it for the rest of my life. Please, don't provoke me." Luo teacher comforted them, urging them to remain calm. It was then that the long-haired subordinate asked, "What's your friend's name?" Luo teacher answered, "Zhuotian Chen." "Why?" "Zhuotian Chen?" The boss pondered. Luo teacher noticed their strange expressions and asked, "What's wrong? Do you know him?" The subordinate forced a smile and replied, "How could we know him? My boss feels that the name Zhuotianshen sounds very rough, but also somehow familiar." They were very fond of telling clumsy lies. However, Luo teacher believed their awkward lie. She smiled and said, "You're really funny." They were praised, and the person felt as if they had a smile inside. Their nose also seemed to lift up as if they remembered something. Luo teacher said to them, "I'll go get some water for you." Then she left. The subordinate, thinking about when Luo teacher had praised them, said, "Oh boss, I can't hold it in anymore, I really want to be with her right now. You guys come here, the boss is calling." While Luo teacher went to get the water, the three of them gathered together to discuss how to approach her. "When she comes out later, we will." The words were filthy and malicious. After a while, she returned, drank some water, and handed it to the three of them. They looked at Luo teacher, having already planned their move, and smiled at her in a strange way. They immediately knelt down, begging her. "Miss, we have something we need your help with." "What are you talking about?" She hurriedly tried to help them up. "Quick, stand up." The boss cried uncontrollably and said, "If you don't agree, we won't stand up." Teacher Luo, puzzled, asked, "Then you need to tell me beforehand what this is all about." Seizing the opportunity, all three of them began crying. "We really can't hide it. In our house, there's still a mother who is seriously ill, and the old woman only has a little breath left. We have no medicine, and we know nothing about medicine. Right now, all we can do is try anything we can. Please, come and save her with us." She spoke, her tone somewhat awkward, "But I must wait here for my friend. I really have no way to leave." The three of them knelt again, their tone urgent. "Please, we beg you." Teacher Luo, being kind-hearted, had no other choice and agreed to their request. "All right, wait for me to get some common medicine, and then I will go with you to see her." "Thank you, benefactor." Upon hearing Teacher Luo's agreement, the leader immediately sat up straight. He was overjoyed inside. "Once we get to our place, you won't be able to refuse. Truly a demon saving people, and the person will pay the price." She walked over and picked up a heavy bag. "Take these," she said. "These are just some common supplies." Thank you, they still tried to pretend. Luo teacher announced, "Let's go, we are departing." "Where to?" Just as she was about to leave, Tianqin turned around, carrying a large bear and walking towards their group, looking incredibly terrifying. The group of people saw him and, frightened, took several steps back, their mouths agape. He threw the bear onto the ground with a thud, and seeing this, no one said a word. Tianqin looked at them. Luo teacher explained, they were attacked by wolves and tigers in turn, leaving them with numerous injuries. "I just gave them some food." He said, "Is that so? Then what's that bag on your back?" Luo teacher continued, "They also have an elderly family member who is seriously ill. I know a bit of medicine, so I'll go with them to take a look." "Really? Using the old methods, huh?" He sneered, and the boss murmured, You are Zhou Tianchen." He immediately recognized him. He told them, "You all have great luck, it's surprising that you managed to escape from that place." The three of them whispered among themselves, "The situation is changed, we need to make plans immediately." "It's that kid, what should we do?" "Third brother, you come up with a plan quickly." "He asked you asked who?" All three of them were trembling in fear. Luo teacher was still incredibly naive, not understanding what was happening. What exactly is going on here? He explained, "Can't you see? They tricked you. 3 months ago, we disabled their hands. The blood was just freshly spilled, and there were no elderly people involved. You guys are really greedy, not only tricking them for supplies and food, but even wanting to deceive people. If you manage to escape from here, consider yourselves lucky. However, meeting me here today means it's all over for you." The man in yellow was frightened and fell to the ground. "Please, don't kill me, what are you so scared of?" The boss shouted at him, irritated by how cowardly his subordinate was. "Get up." Luo teacher stepped forward to intervene. "How about we just let it go?" She seemed unwilling to let him harm them. He unexpectedly retorted, "Let it go? That's a bit sarcastic." Luo teacher said, "They can't harm me, and since I've stopped them in time, it's fine. You're such a good person, even in the end times, you still want to save the bad ones." Tianqin said, "If I hadn't been here today, what would you have done?" He explained to her in a serious tone, "Things now are not like before. So, rein in your maternal instincts and don't trust anyone too easily. If you don't take action today, in 2 days, they'll go on to harm others." The group of people was terrified. They were scared to death and immediately said, "We won't dare anymore, we won't dare." He continued speaking to Teacher Luo in a tone devoid of any emotion, but his words might be the lifeline that saved Teacher Luo later. "I won't let you harm yourself because of pity. You now have abilities that are not weaker than mine, but it seems you are still unworthy of them. Therefore, I hope you can handle today's matter on your own. He left with his final words, from now on, no matter what happens, I won't intervene. These two are for you to deal with. After speaking to teacher Luo, regardless of whether she understood or not, he turned and walked back to the car. The three people were stunned. What's going on here? It seems Zhuo Tianshan wants to train a girl to fight back against us. What? He's using us as practice? Their boss swallowed hard and said again, what are you panicking for? This is our chance. As long as we seize it, we'll have a way out. Tianshan, they said, addressing him. They spoke, encountering you is our misfortune, but today we will not admit defeat so easily. You want to use us for her practice, no problem. If we win, we'll be allowed to leave. The group shouted loudly, hoping to save themselves. Tianshan took out a cigarette, lit it, took a puff, then replied to them, I think you've misunderstood something. First, if I don't step in, you're no match for Luo teacher. Second, I didn't bring you here for you to fight, I want her to deal with you. Upon hearing these words from Tianshan, the leader gritted his teeth. What? Who is she that you speak of her like this? He snarled. Third, from the very beginning, I never intended for any of you to survive and leave. He looked at them as though they were prey, sneering, there's no humanity in this. Tianshan, don't push us too far, or don't blame us for not being polite. Upon hearing Tianshan's words, the group stepped back, their voices trembling with fear. He moved forward, handing them something, then said to Luo teacher, what are you waiting for? Go ahead. Luo teacher was still extremely reluctant, she stepped back as if wanting to leave. But those people had already backed up to the car. The boss threw the gun to two of his subordinates, telling them to grab it quickly. When Luo teacher saw them get hold of the gun, she panicked, it was over. She said, don't come here, don't come here. As soon as they got the gun, they immediately opened fire on her, without hesitation, even though she was the one who had previously fed them and given them medicine. After firing a round, the senior member noticed something, cold sweat poured down his face, huh? Looking towards the smoke that was dispersing, there was actually a figure within it, both of them were extremely bewildered, it shouldn't have been possible. When the smoke cleared, the figure of Luo teacher appeared, wearing black armor, her clothes torn to shreds. The cowardly man immediately screamed, what the hell is this? When he saw Luo teacher clearly in her black armor, he screamed, monster, it's a monster. Over there, Tianshan just smoked a cigarette, not getting involved in the matter. He remained silent, knowing Luo teacher would handle everything. After firing a full round at Luo teacher, the gun ran out of bullets, they threw it to the ground and immediately begged for mercy, trembling all over, unable to even stand, monster. Luo teacher looked at their appearance and said nothing. Truly, they were human. But even so, Luo teacher spared them, you may go. She said, I really don't want to kill anyone. She turned to Tianshan and said, Zhuo Tianshan, let them go. I really don't want to kill anyone. Let them go. He put out the cigarette and walked towards them. He said, if you don't act, I will. Luo teacher truly disappointed him. The group immediately knelt down, please, spare our lives. Please, we were just taking advantage of our strength, afraid of the stronger ones. We were cowardly. Luo teacher stood in front of them and said to all three, you all should leave quickly. I will stop them. But they still didn't give up. The leader looked at her with a cold stare, then pulled a dagger from his pocket, without a word, and stabbed it directly into Luo teacher's chest. Blood poured out like a stream. It was because Luo teacher had gradually withdrawn the black armor, so she couldn't defend. Luo teacher seemed to not believe her own eyes. She widened her eyes, and the senior man cursed, still pretending to be a good person in front of me. How disgusting. Then, with such a fatal wound, Luo teacher collapsed to the ground. Tianshan, the boss's name, held a grenade in front of him and threatened him, don't come any closer, at most we will die together. The grenade, you can see what's in front of you. That's right, the leader responded. I found it on your vehicle. I know you're powerful, even if I use a gun, I can't beat you, but if you dare to come over here, I'll detonate it immediately. Tianchen smiled faintly. Let me educate you on some basic knowledge, the dangerous parts of the black armor. Immediately, the group of thugs felt a chill running down their spines. They turned around, even though they hadn't agreed beforehand. It was the head. He said Luo teacher had come back to life, her eyes bloodthirsty. It was also because of the earlier wound that had to recover, making her hungrier than usual, and the bloodthirsty state instantly emerged. One slash, and the two subordinates behind the leader immediately fell. Only the boss holding the grenade remained, and at that moment, he realized what had happened. As soon as Luo teacher received fresh blood, the wound healed instantly, leaving no trace. Ah! The leader screamed loudly. Luo teacher is almost out of her mind now. She muttered, blood, blood. Her gaze was full of killing intent as she slowly walked toward the boss. The leader fell to the ground, his body trembling. He still tried to pull out a grenade to threaten them. Don't come here. Tianchen noticed and frowned. It's over, it must be because of the injury earlier, triggering the instinctive reaction of the black armor. She could be dangerously violent at any moment. Don't come here, the boss stammered, still holding the grenade out like a last-ditch attempt to save himself. If you come any closer, I'll detonate it. Tianchen spoke to Luo teacher, stay calm, don't let the bloodlust take over. As soon as Luo teacher heard Tianchen's words, she stopped moving. She no longer walked toward the leader. Instead, she looked at her hands, which were covered in blood. Luo teacher, I'm scared. I've killed someone. I've killed someone. She appeared utterly panicked. The leader immediately recognized this as his chance to escape. He quickly ran away, throwing in a curse, you idiot. This seemed to trigger something in Luo teacher. Upon hearing his words, she immediately turned to look at him, leaping as if she had vanished from the ground, instantly catching up to the leader with a terrifying appearance. The leader was scared and didn't know what to do, repeatedly saying, Don't come here, I'll risk my life with you. That leader then pulled the pin of a grenade. Tianchen saw what he had done, so he immediately ran towards Luo teacher to take cover. Before the grenade exploded, he grabbed Luo teacher, then held her in his arms to shield her from the impact of the grenade. However, this also caused Tianchen to suffer a tremendous amount of damage. The two of them were blasted forward, rolling several times, and the smoke from the grenade filled the air. Tianchen took the brunt of the injuries. He collapsed to the ground, groaning in pain, unable to move, and could only lie there waiting for time to heal his wounds. The car continued its journey. Luo teacher began to regain consciousness. Noticing the movement from Luo teacher, Tianchen asked her, You're awake? He told her, You've been unconscious for 3 days. 3 days? Luo teacher seemed unable to believe her ears. I've been unconscious for that long? That's unbelievable. Luo teacher looked ahead at the road, then asked, Where are we going? He said, Manhwa City, the plan has changed. You have to go with me. I'm going to Manhwa with you? She asked in confusion. He didn't bother explaining, and while driving, he told Luo teacher, You should check for yourself. Luo teacher realized, she took off her jacket, and there was another red piece in her hand. Luo teacher seemed not to believe her eyes, she was confused, what is going on here? It was only when Luo teacher saw that red piece that Tianchen explained, it's not just that, there is also one on your leg, and in addition, on your chest, there are a total of 5 black scales. Your black armor is expanding again. Luo teacher was bewildered, why is this happening? Wasn't I about to successfully condense it? He sighed, the red scales of the black armor resemble the initial points of human evolution. Normally, most people have one as their starting point, and I am of the all-purpose system. My starting point is 2, so condensing new patterns is harder for me than for others. Luo teacher slowly understood, so now my starting point has turned into 5, right? He nodded, fortunately, Luo teacher understands quickly. 5 starting points condensing at the same time. With your current abilities, it's absolutely impossible for you to accomplish. So, during this time, you should stay by my side. As for your problem, I will think of another solution. But Luo teacher told him, her voice seeming somewhat reluctant. He frowned, his voice somewhat cold. I know what you're thinking. Although there is flooding in Ji County, the ancient city wall is the highest area in Ji County. Xiao Shui over there will not be in any danger. Besides, with your current state, even if she were by your side, she might not be safe, but I am still worried. If the black armor on you is not controlled well, you might never meet her again in this lifetime. What Tian Chen said is the truth. Hearing those words made Luo teacher feel sad. If you are impatient to leave, aside from me, no one else will be able to control you. Therefore, right now, your only choice is to come with me. Luo teacher also accepted Tian Chen's words. She didn't need to feel discouraged. This time won't be wasted, he said. You have already managed to control the black armor around the initial point, so at least among the crowd, you won't draw attention. Adjust your state a little. He reminded her, we will soon reach Longhua, and that's not a safe place. Luo teacher asked, I can see the urgency in you. Are you going to Longhua to find Xin? He dismissed her words. No, this time going to Longhua is for something else. Luo teacher was surprised. Something else? There's another reason? Tianxin said, first to repay a favor, then to seek revenge. He gritted his teeth. I must pay off that debt as soon as possible. They got out of the car. The two walked towards the residential area, and he stopped the car, then said to her, the next part, we'll walk there. Luo teacher got out of the car, feeling confused. Isn't driving faster? He replied, wait a moment, you'll understand. Then he tossed her a face mask to wear. Luo teacher was puzzled. What is this for? He answered, sometimes it's troublesome when one is born too pretty. Although Tian Chen's words were reproachful, Luo teacher didn't feel upset. Her face turned red, and she muttered, this guy. The group in front of the gate, walking in a line, were all heading towards the city. The guard shouted loudly, telling everyone to prepare their supplies for submission. Each person from our Azure Mountain gang entering the city must submit 10% of their supplies, as a form of tax. Everyone was dissatisfied. What? 10%? Are you going to rob us instead? That's right, these are the supplies we painstakingly gathered. What gives you the right? That's right, we're not satisfied. They were all dissatisfied, so they immediately started clamoring. Shut up! The gatekeeper shouted, if you're not satisfied, leave. If you have the guts, go to another city. The group couldn't do anything, they could only endure. Teacher Luo followed behind Tian Chen, whispering to him, no wonder you only brought out a little bit of stuff. If we had to hand over 10% of our supplies, just thinking about it would be heartbreaking. He replied, it's the usual rule in city bases, submitting supplies before entering the city is actually less here. Some places even require submitting half or more. Teacher Luo asked again, is there another way to sneak in? He replied, there is, but we don't lack supplies at the moment. If a problem can be solved with money, there's no need to waste time on unnecessary schemes. Just then, a vehicle came driving up. Tianxin heard the noise and immediately turned to look behind, seeing the group startled and quickly running away. Luckily we ran in time, no one got hit. The car also stopped, and someone stepped out from it. Leading the way was a man with slicked back hair, followed by two subordinates, exuding an air of great authority. Everyone was furious. Who are these people? Why are they taking the car? So aggressive, so reckless, it's unbearable. But the gatekeeper showed a different attitude. He seemed somewhat pleased to see the three of them, immediately calling out, Brother Xian, what brings you here? The man seemed a little embarrassed upon encountering such a prominent figure. Brother Xian, as the gatekeeper called him, asked, what's wrong? You're not welcoming us? The gatekeeper spoke quickly, of course not, how could we not? Open the door for Brother Xian, no rush. He smiled. Brother Xian smiled back, slightly mocking, then I won't stand on ceremony.
The gatekeeper grinned, Brother Xian, if you have any instructions, we will do our best to fulfill them. Brother Xian, truly the kind of person you'd expect from a band of thieves, immediately spoke up, this gate will belong to the Red Jacket Gang from now on. You all should scram. When Tianchen heard those words, it felt as though a bolt of lightning had struck his body. He looked toward them, recalling that it was they who had severed Zheng Tingyu's left arm that year.
Teacher Tianchen Luo, sensing his change, clenched his fists and asked, Are you okay? I'm fine, I'm doing great, better than I could ever be. No need to go looking for them, the enemies come to us on their own. Two birds with one stone, too easy. Brother Xian. The gatekeeper said to the man in the red jacket, Didn't we agree to join forces with Tan Sen and the Red Jacket Gang? What's going on? Brother Xian laughed and said, Kid, are you really that stupid, or are you just pretending to be? With the little resources that the Azure Mountain Gang has, what makes you think you can join forces with us? Brother Xian. The gatekeeper continued, Don't forget, our boss is also an evolved one. Aren't you afraid he'll take revenge? That's right, you're absolutely right. Brother Xian smiled faintly, Your boss has already been taken care of by us. Brother Xian tossed a severed head onto the ground. The gatekeeper was terrified. He immediately rushed over to the head of his boss, shouting in a heart-wrenching voice, Boss! The man named Brother Xian walked up to the gatekeeper and said, I will judge your loyalty, and it is worthy of praise. He held the boss's head in his hand, and frustration surged within him, Boss, but your loyalty has not done a single thing good for me. He immediately struck the gatekeeper's head with his hand, and the man bled before dying instantly. Listen up, everyone! Brother Xian said loudly, Starting today, there is no longer an Azure Mountain Gang at the Longhua border. From now on, this area will be under the control of the Red Jacket Gang. Now, hand over all the supplies you have on you. Do you all want to rob us? The crowd shouted, Down with them. Yes, it's unfair, it's robbery. Hearing those two words, Brother Xian smirked, Go ahead. He waved his hand, and his group of men advanced toward the crowd. Father, they are beating the people without any mercy. The cries echoed, What are you doing? Wife. Husband. Now this is what you call a robbery, Brother Xian mocked. He walked ahead and pretended to speak, I won't make things difficult for you. If you want people, then trade them for supplies. If you don't have supplies, then go collect them now, or we will take these people with us. The group really had no other choice, everyone was silent. Brother Xian then glanced at someone, it was Teacher Luo. She was wearing a mask and intentionally lowered her head. Brother Xian said to his underlings, This girl's mask isn't bad, take it off and give it to me. Yes. One of his underlings immediately obeyed and walked towards Teacher Luo, reaching out to take the mask. Come here. Teacher Luo was startled, Don't touch me. Just as the man was about to grab her, she pushed him away, sending him flying several meters. She yelled, Don't touch me. The boss was taken aback by this, he couldn't accept seeing one of his men being thrown away. Immediately, someone pulled out a gun and pointed it at the two of them, Don't move, move and you'll turn into a porcupine right away. Luo teacher anxiously asked, Brother, what should we do? Tianchen muttered, What else can we do? Are we supposed to wait for them to open fire? Hearing his words, Luo teacher immediately took action and dealt with them swiftly. The leader, observing the situation, realized that there were not one, but two evolved individuals. He lowered his weapon, waved his hand forward, and attempted to recruit both. I must have misjudged the situation. He bowed his head and said, I didn't expect you two to be evolved. Tianchen looked at him, frowning. The guy is calculating in his mind, these two, I've never seen them before. They must be from elsewhere. If things go badly, death is certain. Perhaps I can try to recruit them. He pointed to himself and introduced, This friendly guy here, I am Li Xian, second in command of the Red Jacket Gang. Earlier, one of my subordinates had a poor memory and caused offense. I apologize. Tian Chen asked, in your red jacket gang, aside from you, is there any other evolved person?
Li Xian replied, of course, my boss, Li Hui, is also evolved, and his strength is above mine.
The two men didn't give him much attention, as Tian Chen lit a cigarette, appearing indifferent to them.
Li Xian was also a little irritated with him. Hey, what do you mean by that? Our red jacket gang, although not the most powerful force in Manhwa, isn't something that can be easily trampled on. Even though you guys are also evolved beings, don't underestimate others. And by the way, we introduced ourselves from the start, but you didn't even bother to say your own name.
Don't you have any sense of courtesy? He muttered, you're really funny. Tian Chen looked at him provocatively, would you say polite words to a dead person? Li Xian heard what he said, and even a fool could tell what he meant. What do you mean by that?
Tian Chen replied, listen carefully, tell the people of the Red Jacket Gang before May 14, meaning within 1 day, to disband the gang.
If not, I'll make a threat. I will wipe them out, I won't spare any gang. Brother Xian was furious upon hearing that. You want to challenge me? He stomped his foot on the ground, and with a loud thud, immediately transformed into the form of an evolved being. It seemed as though something was growing from his hands and feet, and after strengthening himself, he charged toward Tian Chen, die. He stood in front of Li Xian like a tiny ant. Tian Chen showed no fear whatsoever, all that could be seen in his eyes was killing intent. Without wasting another second, in the blink of an eye, he struck Li Xian, sending him crashing to the ground, with blood pouring from his chest. The onlookers stood frozen, mouths agape, that Li Xian is really gone? No way. Tian Chen pulled his hand out from Li Xian's body, and his underlings were still standing there, unsure of what to do. Seeing the situation was turning dire, they all gaped in shock. How is this possible? Tian Chen walked towards them and warned the people from the Red Jacket Gang to stay put, while the others quickly fled the scene. The members of the Red Jacket Gang immediately dropped to their knees. Spare us, please spare us. He murmured, today is the 11th of May. 3 days from now, if Manhwa is still with the Red Jacket Gang, I, Zhua Tian Chen, will personally come to your door. Zhua Tian Chen. The remaining people seem to realize something. You're the one who killed the Zhao family's second young master, Zhua Tian Chen. He was taken aback, you know? Of course you do. One of them spoke, the Zhao family has placed a sky-high bounty on your head and has issued a nationwide manhunt for you. Upon hearing that news, Tian Chen was surprised, a manhunt that severe? On the other side. Someone said, the Zhao family has been bullying others too much, making us wait here for so long. That's right, when they pulled us in before, they were all polite. The moment the second in command died, they immediately changed. Li Hui explained, in the world of factions, it's all about strength. With the second young master gone, I'm the only remaining evolved one. In Manhwa, we're at most considered a second-tier force, so naturally, the Zhao family won't pay any attention to us. One of the subordinates asked, so what now? That's what Tian Chen only needed one move to kill Brother Xian. Can we hold up? Li Hui lowered his head, let's see. The Zhao family has a grudge with Zhua Tian Chen, they might step in to help us. Someone is coming from over there, isn't that Hui brother from the Red Jacket Gang? I heard your brother, Li Xian, was killed. Is that true? The person mocked Li Hui. Li Hui, angry, said, Guang Tu Chang, don't think that just because we're in the Zhao family's territory, I won't do anything to you. With your little skill, I can kill you in less than a minute. Guang Tu Chang looked at Li Hui threateningly, right, the skill of Hui brother, we've been taught. But what about 3 against 1? Guang Tu Chang took off his hat, and on his head, there was a first noticeable mark. Li Hui opened his eyes wide in disbelief, and Guang Tu Chang mocked, we all broke through already. Last time in the city center, weren't you very strong? Or should we practice again? His appearance was extremely despicable. Li Hui gritted his teeth, when did the 3 of you break through? If they established a faction, would they instantly become a top-tier force? The 3 of them had stationed themselves with our forces, part of the Zhao family.
Someone came forward to ease Li Hui's worries. It was the young master of the Zhao family.
Have you forgotten the task my father assigned to you?
The young master of the Zhao family scolded the three bald-headed brothers, who quickly ran off. We'll get to work immediately.
Li Hui lowered his head. Young master, thank you.
The young master replied coldly, follow me.
He spoke again to Li Hui. Do you know what I had those three men do?
Li Hui didn't understand, but he paused when the young master of the Zhao family spoke. We've discovered the whereabouts of Zhuo Tianchen.
The three of them went to assist. Zhuo Tianchen. Li Hui was taken aback. Young master. Li Hui said, Zhuo Tianchen is not simple. He was able to kill my second young master in an instant.
His strength must be very powerful. The young master seemed to disregard the matter and comforted Li Hui. Don't worry, Bruce and Brian have already gone over there. With 5 evolved individuals, Zhuo Tianchen won't stand a chance. Upon hearing this, Li Hui was also taken aback. 5 evolved individuals, I'm afraid only the Zhao family could send out a team like that. Li Hui then spoke to Zhao young master. Zhao young master, let me go with them. The grudge against my second young master, I want to personally take revenge.
No. He said, I came to find you for something else. Find me? Yes. Zhao young master replied, my father wants to meet you. Zhao boss?
He was surprised. Meanwhile, the two had entered the city and saw a wanted poster that was horribly drawn. Below it was a line of text, Zhuo Tianchen, 19 years old, 178 cm tall, black hair.
Anyone who can provide information on this person will be rewarded with supplies.
Anyone who can capture this person will be allowed to live forever in the base, with treatment equivalent to that of an evolved person. Luo teacher and Tianchen saw this poster and suddenly didn't know what to say to each other.
Luo teacher asked him, did you really kill someone's son? He replied, yes.
Luo teacher smiled faintly. First, you offended the big shot in this area, and now you're spreading rumors about wanting to destroy a sect.
Do you really think you can cause trouble? Tianchen shook his head. I normally don't start trouble.
It was them who acted first.
Luo teacher continued, what about the Red Jacket gang? They don't seem to have caused trouble with you.
He replied, just because they're not causing trouble now doesn't mean they won't in the future. In any case, if you don't offend me, I won't offend you. After explaining, he was about to take off his glasses and put them back on when Luo teacher reminded him, you're still wanted, you know.
She asked further, does it feel like it?
He pointed at the wanted poster and smiled faintly.
That's true. Luo teacher nodded, this artist. Even if you stood right in front of them, they wouldn't recognize you.
From a distance, a loud voice shouted, Zhuo Tianchen, stop right there.
Tianchen heard his name and turned to look. It was someone else being chased by the crowd. Zhuo Tianchen, don't run. The person was almost in tears. Huh? It's not me.
I didn't kill the young master, I really didn't kill him.
Why are you chasing me? The group of people shouted, you're talking nonsense. The person on the wanted list is clearly you. Do you think we're idiots? What's going on? Teacher Luo was confused and said, let's go over there and see.
Over there, near the school, it was lunchtime, and a person was surrounded by 5 others. However, the person surrounded showed no sign of fear, standing proudly as they rushed toward him. The surrounded person closed their eyes, as if not wanting to witness the tragic scene. After just a few blows, the person had defeated them all. Before leaving, they even pretended to slay, you guys still have to practice a lot before you can match up.
That night, someone immediately walked up to kick him. He quickly bent down, raised his hand, and said, you sneak attacked. He immediately retreated, and the person complimented him, you almost succeeded in the sneak attack. The person looked at him with a humble smile, the gap is too big. Last week, I could still trade a few moves with Wu Yi, but now I'm completely no match. Indeed, the difference between having broken through and not breaking through is like the difference between heaven and earth. Otherwise, how could we call them evolved?
Someone clapped and praised, "Not bad, very good." After the two successfully made a breakthrough, their progress was much faster compared to before, and both bosses were pleased. Li Wui scratched his head and said, "Still no way to compare with the old man. Last time, you gave us a hand, and the two of us still couldn't beat you." The boss smiled, "You've done very well, I commend both of you. The foundation of both of you is solid, and now, in this whole Longhua city, there aren't many who have evolved more than you." Boss Qin Shin asked, "You didn't come here just to praise us, did you?" The boss laughed, clearly understanding him. He then got to the point, "I just received news that your friend, Zhou Tianchen, was captured by people from the Zhao family and is about to be taken to the trading square for execution."
What? This news was so shocking that both Li Wui and Qin Shin couldn't believe it. Li Wui exclaimed, "How could that be? With Zhou Tianchen's strength, how could he be captured by people from the Zhao family?" "Exactly," Qin Shin nodded. "That's impossible." The boss replied, "This news is known throughout the entire expanded area, so it can't be fake." Both of them fell silent. The person said, "In addition, the boss mentioned that they received some new information, seemingly appearing at the same time as the news of Zhou Tianchen's arrest. We don't know if it's true or fake, so we need you to verify it." Li Wui and Qin Shin were surprised. The boss said that someone mentioned Zhou Tianchen has a method to accelerate evolution, which could allow him to break through and become an evolved human in a short time. This sounds unbelievable. If it's true, it could cause a huge storm in Long City. This definitely needs to be verified as soon as possible. What? Qin Shin was shocked to hear that, a method to accelerate evolution? Li Wui also couldn't believe it. Does Zhou Tianchen really have a method to accelerate evolution? Qin Shin replied, "Whether it's true or not, Zhou Tianchen's situation is not good right now." Their boss nodded, "That's right. As soon as this news is released, it's predicted that the whole Longhua city will be in an uproar. You two go check it out, and act when the right opportunity comes." Li Wui and Qin Shin immediately responded, "Yes." Meanwhile, a group of people believed to have captured Zhou Tianchen were dragging him out into the square. It was the group of three bald brothers. The three bald brothers stood there, with countless onlookers below, all wondering, "Did you see that? Is that Zhou Tianchen?" A bit surprised inside, Qin Shin muttered, "Is it really the Zhao family? If so, then we're in trouble." Li brother, seeing the person being dazzled and still wearing a mask in front of them, felt annoyed. Qin Shin stopped him, "Are you crazy? There are so many people here." Li brother seemed unconcerned. He said, "Why think so much? Hurry up and save the person." At that moment, a piece of paper was thrown towards them. Qin Shin immediately grabbed it out of instinct. Li brother also walked over to examine it. "What is this?" Qin Shin unrolled the paper, revealing two words, "Come here." Qin Shin and Li brother looked toward the back, where someone was walking toward the narrow hallway. Qin Shin was startled, "An evolved person. Who are you?" Li Wui asked, "In our impression, there is no such person in this expanded area." "It's not me looking for you." Luo teacher said, "It's not you." Qin Shin was puzzled, "You're passing a message for someone else." As the two of them were confused, a voice sounded, "It's me. Tianchen, it really is you. It seems you all have broken through to level 1, congratulations." Following behind was Luo teacher, who had passed the message to Qin Shin earlier. Li Wui walked over, seemingly not believing, "You're not. Not. Are you?" Tianchen explained, "That's not you, it's a long story, but to sum it up, the Zhao family has mistaken the person." Upon hearing this, Li Wui was relieved and said, "That's good. Tian brother, we should take advantage of the fact that no one has noticed yet and head back to the base with us." Qin Shin agreed with Li Wui, "Right, with the protection of the base, even the Zhao family wouldn't dare to act recklessly." He immediately declined, "No need." He said, "I have other matters to attend to in Longhua." Li Wui seemed to want to gather some information.
Li Wui was puzzled, as though he didn't fully understand his true intention. Tianqian said, I noticed that there are quite a few evolved individuals lying in wait around the square, probably more than 20 of them.
Li brother, do you know if something's going on? More than 20?
Even Qin and Li Wui didn't perceive such a large number.
Li Wui then had to clarify, could the news have leaked out? The news you're talking about is unclear. What news?
Li Wui said, earlier, someone suddenly spread some nonsense saying that you have a method that can accelerate evolution, that it can help someone break through in a short time. He scratched his head and sighed, this is nonsense.
Luo teacher also pondered, this is absolutely not just any ordinary nonsense. What's wrong?
Upon hearing this, both Qin and Wu Yi turned towards Luo teacher, as if they wanted to know more. Luo teacher explained, what I mean is that this is a piece of nonsense aimed at dealing with Zhuo Tianqian.
Zhuo Tianqian nodded, Miss Luo is right.
This really is just ordinary nonsense, with counterfeit goods being caught and then immediately spreading out clearly. It's a plot that had been planned in advance. Not only that, but this nonsense is almost like the truth, just packaged in the form of gossip. He frowned, a little uncomfortable.
Luo teacher anxiously turned to Zhuo Tianqian and asked, should we go and investigate this matter thoroughly first?
We'll go.
Where are we heading?
All three of them were curious. He answered, someone has carefully arranged for us to go in, thinking that we would go in and investigate.
That just shows that the person who arranged this doesn't understand Zhuo Tianqian at all.
After all, they have already caught the counterfeit goods, so let them play with it slowly.
I'm not interested in having a fight with him. He remained calm, his demeanor showing no sign of fear. Last time, I asked the two of you to help me find someone. Do you have any news?
Xin responded, you mentioned your friends, Gao Fei and Lan Sha, aren't locals, so there's still no news, but we found Zhang Tingyu.
Speaking of which, this person is also related to you.
Upon hearing the name Zhang Tingyu, he felt a bit nervous inside. Xin continued, today, when I entered Longhua, I killed Li Xian, the second brother of the Red Jacket Gang, and the boss of Azure Mountain Gang is now in conflict with them. This is Zhang Wenqing, the older brother of Zhang Tingyu. To put it simply, I've helped this friend of yours take revenge.
Tianqian urgently held Xin and asked, so where is Zhang Tingyu? Is he in Longhua? What's going on now?
Xin replied, don't be too agitated. Last week, he became an evolved person, and that's how Azure Mountain Gang gained strength, which led to the feud with the Red Jacket Gang. While Zhang Tingyu and his team were out looking for supplies, the Red Jacket Gang took the opportunity to kill Zhang Wenqing.